Welcome to the Arrington Gavin Show. Real talk, big opinions, and fearless conversations. From the front lines of politics to the latest in pop culture. From breaking sports headlines to the stories that move the world. Nothing's off limits, and nobody's holding back. Arrington Gavin is here to break it down, build it up, and keep it all the way real. So turn it up, lean in, and let's get into it. This is the Arrington Gavin Show.
What is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome to another great episode here on the Arrington Gavin Show, your go-to spot for sharp insights, bold opinions, and unfiltered takes on the biggest stories of the day, whether it's politics, sports, pop culture, or the latest buzz. Look, we're diving deep and keeping it real. So please do me a favor, kick back, stay informed, and get ready to join the conversation. So, my friends, on tonight's conversation, we continue our conversations with the candidates who want the opportunity to serve the people of Chesapeake, my home city. Joining me tonight is Chesapeake School Board Chair Kim Scott, who is seeking another 4 years on the board. Now, during her time in office, she has had the opportunity to help lead one of the largest school divisions in Hampton Roads, and now she's asking voters to judge her record and give her another term. Now, tonight, I want to hear directly from Chair Scott about what she believes has been accomplished during her time on school board and where Chesapeake Public Schools can improve and, well, what she wants to accomplish over the next 4 years. We'll talk about everything from student achievement and school safety to teachers, facilities, growth, parental involvement, and the recent selection of a new superintendent. Most importantly, we'll ask the questions voters ultimately have, and that question is, well, has Kim Scott earned another 4 years on the Chesapeake School Board? So again, I'm excited because, as always, my friends, I have the opportunity to have a convo with our elected officials and candidates, those not just running on federal level, state level, but also on the local level, because time and time again I share with you all the importance of having the understanding of local government. We always turn on the TV, we're like, okay, this is happening in Washington, this and that and the other, but guess what? With stuff that happens on a federal level trickles down, on a state level trickles down on a local level, and it's right in your own backyard. And you have to have an understanding when it comes to, well, who serves as city treasurer, clerk of court. I mean, there's positions that I can share with folks when I'm like, you never knew that? No. Okay, well, like it's time to get to it. It's great to be informed and be aware. And again, I just appreciate when I do have the opportunity to have these sit down convos with those that are serving here in the great city of Chesapeake. And in full disclosure, Kim is a neighbor. She lives in my neighborhood, so that's even more dope, right? So I've already had the opportunity to have at the time, now Sheriff Wallace Chadwick. Okay, now at the time when he was a candidate, we had him on. That was the last time we had him on. But he's currently, he won his election, so he's currently the sheriff here in Chesapeake. Wallace also lives in the neighborhood, so I'm telling you, the neighborhood is filled with some talented folks. I mean, what can I say? I'm also I'm just saying it's pretty awesome. But and excuse my voice, y'all, because my brother was visiting in town from Atlanta, and we had a wonderful time visiting a family farmhouse our dad had grew up in. And mine, he always talked about the farmhouse. I haven't yet to had seen it at the time, but my brother, I think the last time he was like in like a little kid when he was there, he said it was in the country, right? And I said, okay, whatever. I went to school out in the country. When I tell you this was country, now I'm a city kid at heart, right? I'm from Chesapeake, but I would say I'm city kid at heart. I have a lot of family from New York. My mother's from New York. And so I've always been city. So we got out there, we started driving. I'm like, man, I haven't seen people. I haven't seen anything. And you know what crossed the road literally before we drove into the driveway? A wild turkey. Literally, we saw a turkey cross the road. And I'm just like, I think I might stay in the car. But I didn't. I got out because I was just, I was interested, but it was in the country. And fast forward, we got back because it was just really like a down and back trip. We got back home. And, like brothers, we see each other at least a couple, I'll say maybe 6 times a year, right? We visit each other back and forth. And I forget, we're not young anymore like we used to in college. Like we were hanging out, and I'm like, yeah, why do we do that? Because now, today, y'all, my voice is all raspy. I'm like, I'm kind of tired. What happened? But we had an awesome time. I dropped him off to the airport. He made it in safe. And so it was just, I always appreciate those moments. Now I'm like, the baby in the family, but my brother and I, we literally look like, our dad, bald head, beards, except his is gray. But hey, I got grace too, so I can't really joke too much. But it was a great time. It was a great time. All right, my friends. Now enough with all my chit chat. As always, thank you so much for taking your time out of your busy schedule for tuning into yet another great convo. As you know, we drop new episodes weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcast, whether that's iHeart, Spotify, Apple, just to name a few. We're available on all podcast platforms. You can also check out past episodes of the show on the Goatverse TV app. Okay, so you can download the app on your App Store, Google Play Store, Roku, or Amazon Fire TV. You can also follow us on our social media platforms, Instagram at the Arrington Gavin Show. X and Blue Sky, all under the same handle, AG Show Live. You can also check out our Substack. You can also, make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Oh, you can also check out episodes 2 of the program. We're on Rumble as well, still the Arrington Gavin Show. And check out our website too if you want to reach out. Hit me up. You would like to hear, a topic discussed on this show or whatnot. Visit our website, www.theagshow.com. www.theagshow.com. And lastly, if you have not done so yet, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have a goal to hit at least 5,000 by the end of the year. And so we just want your help to, share with friends, share with family. We want to continue the great momentum, the great conversation that we have here on the show. We have fun, but we also hope that you leave, learning something, right? Because, hey, the more you know, the more you grow. And knowledge, as I say, knowledge is power. So enough with that. We are going to head to a commercial break. And then we come back, we'll have our special guest, Kim Scott, Chesapeake School Board Chair, and my neighbor, Kim Scott, on for a great conversation. So y'all, thank you for sticking with us, but we're going to go to a commercial break. We'll be right back. Hear more on the Arrington Gavin Show.
Every man has a story to tell. Your ambitions, your achievements, your legacy. Your suit should reflect that story, crafted precisely, designed for impact, and tailored exclusively for you. We work with only the finest fabrics, luxurious wools, silk, linen, and blends from world-renowned mills in Italy, the UK, and India. These fabrics are the foundation of custom suits that exude elegance and stand the test of time. But a suit isn't just about fabric, it's about fit, and it's about confidence, and it all starts with you. When you work with me, you'll receive a personalized consultation, whether in person or over Zoom. Together, we'll explore your vision and discuss your needs. And we're gonna bring your ideas to life. My journey as a designer includes apprenticing under New York-based designer Clavon Leonard, showcasing collections at New York Fashion Week, Algeria Fashion Week, and the prestigious Baltimore Met Gala. That experience is what we bring to every suit we create, from weddings to corporate events and everything in between. We specialize in crafting one-of-a-kind suits for life's most significant moments. Dapper Luke has been recognized as one of Baltimore's best menswear in 2023, and I was honored to be one of the 10 designers selected for the prestigious Baltimore Met Gala. With over 900 satisfied clients, we proudly serve Virginia Beach and Baltimore, bringing world-class designs to these incredible communities. We don't just make suits, we craft confidence. Your suit will fit your body, your style, and it will tell your story. Book your free online personal consultation today. Visit www.dapperluke.com.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to
And we still in traffic.
Don't look familiar, do I? Not in this seat.
Hey, what's that you listening to?
Here to host today.
Hey, turn it up. Yeah, that's that new Goatverse app. I got you.
So y'all want to know where the goats are? They're off on the sidelines.
Looking for fresh, relevant content wherever you go?
What was the name of that he said?
Introducing Goatverse TV.
Goatverse, that's what it's called.
The free streaming app that brings you the best podcasts, current events, and thought-provoking opinions all in one place. Download it now from the Apple Store or Play Store. In Goats, we trust.
All righty, family. Welcome back. Welcome back. As we mentioned earlier, we have on a special guest waiting so patiently backstage. I have on Chesapeake School Board Chair Kim Scott, also, as I mentioned, my neighbor who's running for re-election. Kim, how are you, my friend?
Hi, Arrington. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on your show today.
Awesome. Anytime. Thank you for taking the time out your busy schedule, because as I mentioned, this is campaign season, right? It's time for run another term, and it's very it is, I would say, now I wouldn't say hectic, but you're all around the place, especially when it comes here in the city of Chesapeake, because it is the second largest city population wise in the state, and we have at large, and then we have a large, it's a huge race that you have going on this go round. I believe 13 candidates in total, which is it's not it's not easy. But if you don't mind, before we get going with your campaign, if you don't mind just kind of introducing yourself to our audience, like give us a brief background about yourself and what led you to pursue local office.
Sure. Well, you mentioned you were the youngest of four. I'm the youngest of four. I'm the youngest of four girls. I was born and raised in Chesapeake County. My daddy was an electrician. My mom was a preschool teacher. They raised me to work hard, to love Jesus, to appreciate, the value of freedom and, American exceptionalism. I married my high school sweetheart, Dave Scott. We've been married 21 years. He's a Navy veteran. That's what brought me to Hampton Roads. We have 4 awesome kids that have attended Chesapeake Public Schools. I say attended because my oldest graduated and she is now in real estate. And I have 3 currently in Chesapeake Public Schools. But my journey to the school board began around 2021. It's a tumultuous time in our country. Things with COVID, things got a little heated. And parents were feeling dismissed. And I felt like that's when parents in the country really started paying attention to school board and the importance of local elections. And I felt like the conversation at that time got really unhealthy. Parents were sort of villainized. We had a sitting president, refer to us as domestic terrorists. And I thought, wait a second, this is really unhealthy. We're not the enemy. We're part of the solution. And I felt like we can work together. And if we can work together and have a healthy partnership with respectful boundaries, we're going to do great things for our kids and our educators, because boundaries protect our children. They protect our educators. They protect our bus drivers, custodians. Boundaries are healthy and they're good. And then I was a former PTA president, and I had experience, fostering those relationships and working together as a team and achieving really good results for our kids. And so I chose to engage during that time, and I went and spoke at school board meetings with that message, and it resonated. It resonated not just with Chesapeake families. It resonated with our educators, our administrators. I've met so many people along the way that remember me during that time, and we're just so appreciative to have a calm voice in the storm. That was rejecting the spirit of division and promoting a spirit of unity, and that we could work together, have healthy boundaries, and do good things. So that's sort of where my journey began. And I was elected in November of 2022. It was one of the greatest honors of my life. I thought, here I am. I'm just a mom. I'm a mom that stepped up, got in the ring, and won. And then in January of 2026, I was elected unanimously by my peers to be the chair of the school board. And it's a responsibility and a privilege that I don't take lightly, and I'm grateful to have. So here I am. I'm running for re-election.
Wow. How was, not trying to go too far back, but how was that, just the conversation with your family when you first said, I think I want to run for school board? Local. I'm just saying, I always share it with folks, especially even though you're an incumbent. But again, during that period, it was new to you, and you had mentioned, you didn't mention as far as, because I was going to ask about certain qualifications, which you had said PTA president. So it kind of, you had your foot in the door when it comes to operating in this public school side. But like, how was that conversation? Because I'm always saying like, local off politics, really? Like, I'm just curious.
Well, honestly, my husband, I don't think he was necessarily thrilled, because he was attending school board meetings with me too. And it was a very tense and contentious time, honestly. Which I'm so grateful is behind us now. And as a community, everyone has moved on, and we're doing upward. And campaigning is a family affair, and it's very sacrificial. Mom has to be gone, especially during this season, a little bit more, with forums or, meet and greets and stuff. So, but in general, very supportive. But I think initially when they found out, they were like, oh man, you actually want to do this for the next 4 years. This is going to be wild. But it's been wonderful. My family has been tremendously supportive. My husband, he's my rock. He does everything. Like literally, you saw his arm. Your viewers won't get to see it. His arm was in the screen earlier because he was helping me navigate technology. So yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I will say, as a lifelong Chesapeake resident, but I'm guilty to say I was never a student in the public school in Chesapeake Public School. I attended private school out in Norfolk, but if I would have gone to public school, I would have attended Hickory because that was my district. So that would have been the school I would have been a Hawk if I would have attended Chesapeake Public Schools. But kind of going back with the position as a school board member, I want to always educate our listeners because even myself, I'm still a little foreign when it comes to school board, and I've always said it's kind of biased that I don't pay too much attention because, well, my wife and I we have a dog, we don't have any children, so I'm like, I don't really. But I mean, really, it's very important to have that understanding and know, just how the public school system here in Chesapeake, which has always been very, I would say, popular out of Hampton Roads. Like it was always, I would say, is probably number one, at least number one or number two, out of the 7 cities. A lot of great programs, and I know you'd be sharing with that later on. But what is the position of a school board member, if you don't mind sharing with our listeners?
Well, we have 3 main priorities. We oversee the budget, we hire and fire the superintendent, and we create policy. So those are the 3 primary functions. And you're right, school board is important. And just for the record, I know you went to private school. I was actually homeschooled, but all of my children attend public school. So I'm very much for, parents choosing the best route for their children, but everybody, literally every American should care about school board elections because we're the ones making decisions closest to home. And whether we like it or not, whether you're for it or you're against it, the vast majority of children in America are going to go to public schools. So you need to care about your school board. You need to care about what's happening locally at home. I recently, in the neighborhood, because you're my neighbor, I just hosted an event for myself at my house. And that was the first time I've done that. But I felt like it was so fitting because I represent the community. Yeah. And I'm making decisions that impact your family. So it just felt right to open my home to the community for the campaign and so that you could get to know your local school board representative who is making decisions every day that impact your life.
Absolutely. Chesapeake Public Schools, how many, because I've always been curious, like how many, I would say, does the school board kind of oversee? How many schools are in the city of Chesapeake? High schools, middle, elementary, or ballpark?
Yeah. We have 7 high schools, 14 middle schools, and I believe 28 elementary campuses. We serve roughly 40,000 plus students.
Okay.
And we have about 6,000 employees. We are the largest employer in Chesapeake. And you talked about this. We're the 2nd largest city in the state of Virginia. We are an incredibly large and diverse city, but you can speak to Arrington. There's a small town heart in Chesapeake. It's still a very community feel. We're large, but we still have that. And I want to protect that because I think that's what makes Chesapeake so special and unique and why people continue to want to come here and raise their families.
Very, very much so. And I mean, I'm always going to advocate for the city. It's always hard to get me because when I was, I'll say junior high school, I was that kid. Well, I can't wait to go to college. I'm getting out of Chesapeake. I'm out of here. And then once because I started working on my a business plan when I was in college. And, became a business owner in the city of Chesapeake. And I started to get more involved and I really started to appreciate. And like my wife is not from Hampton Roads. And so I always like to, tell her the perks with Chesapeake. Obviously, I would love to see some, improvement as far as like a, entertainment venue when it comes, or a civic. That I would love. I would truly love. And I know, again, being a parent of a public school children, graduation, it would be a lot easier. It would be a closer commute than going out of the city, but no, love Chesapeake. But Kim, going to your first term, if you don't mind sharing some of the the accomplishments or things that you would say I would love to share, and I was proud of that I was a part of this school board during my first terms. Share some of the accomplishments.
Well, first and foremost, I feel like I delivered on my biggest campaign promise, which was to foster that healthy relationship between school and home while protecting essential boundaries, which is, and by boundaries, I mean that schools exist to educate and families have the primary role of shaping values. I think that's just a really crucial boundary. I've been steadfast protecting that boundary, but we've done a lot more than that. And some of the things that I'm most excited about and proud of is when I started my term, we did not have armed resource deputies in our elementary campuses. That's something that we accomplished during my tenure. So we have armed school resource deputies from our sheriff's department. That's a partnership that we have. And we've continued to expand that in Chesapeake Public Schools. So that's great. We've also expanded career and technical education. When I began my term, we had a severe bus driver shortage. I want to say we were short about 120 drivers. We now have 30 vacancies. So that is a drastic reduction. And we did that through, competitive pay incentives, increasing our training, offering CDL licenses, getting creative in that way, expanding our technology for the bus routes and being able to collapse routes and improve efficiency. We've kept classrooms focused on academics. I'm really proud to say that Chesapeake Public Schools did really well in the state assessments. We scored above average in every single category. We have the lowest teacher vacancies in all of Hampton Roads. That's because we're a great place to work and we have wonderful benefits. And every opportunity that I've had to increase teacher pay and to increase salaries, we voted for it. We voted for that nearly unanimously every time. So those are things that I'm really proud of. I'm trying to think what else we've had. Increasing teacher planning time for our elementary teachers. That was something that we were able to implement last year, and that was a big deal. That was something that they've been wanting to do for a long time, and our former superintendent, Dr. Cotton, had come up with this great initiative to allow us to do that, and we were able to give them an additional 40 minutes of planning time. So I know our elementary school teachers were really grateful for that.
When you mentioned that it was an improvement with the teacher, well, because there is I feel like nationwide there's always a kind of a shortage when it comes to keeping your great teachers. I want to ask, is that still, I would say, a challenge in the Chesapeake Public School is, retaining those teachers, because there's this ongoing shortage that even though you improved on certain numbers, it still is like we're in need for teachers. What do you think is why is that a challenge, I would say, for the city?
Well, yeah, we still do have vacancies. I mean, not as many as any of the divisions around us. We're definitely doing better. But I think in general, there is burnout, amongst teachers. And I think where we can do better as parents is to hold our children accountable, and it is to be supportive. So yes, I'm pro parent. I know I said that, sort of earlier, but I'm also very much pro parent responsibility. And we have a duty to raise our children to be good citizens and productive members of society. And that includes teaching our children to be respectful and holding them accountable, making sure that they're doing their homework, that they're acting appropriately at school and on the school bus. Keep in mind, I'm also doing discipline hearings, so I know what's going on. And so, so I think that part of how we can help that situation in our country in general with teacher vacancies is by being a supportive and involved parent and helping our teachers. I also think overburdening the bureaucracy. So I was speaking to one of our amazing guidance counselors. He's been a guidance counselor with one of our schools for over 30 years. And he was like, Kim, he's like, it would be amazing if we could just start one school year without any new initiatives. And I think that that's so true. I think so many teachers sometimes get bogged down by all these new initiatives and things that they have to add to their schedule. And sometimes simple is best. Like, let's just
amen to that. Work smarter, not harder. That's all I've always been. That's always been my motto: smarter, not harder.
Right.
That's awesome. Chesapeake Public Schools, Kim, continues to perform, as you mentioned, well academically compared to many divisions across Virginia. Now, how do you prevent complacency, while maintaining that level of excellence?
Oh, I think we should always keep striving, and that's something that we, just at our last board meeting, Dr. Joppi, she's our chief academic officer, was giving us the update on where we are across the board. And it's so exciting to see either where we've maintained or we've gone a little bit further. Even if it's a 1% increase, we're like, yes, that's a 1% increase. So I think just keeping that mentality that we can always do better. It's great to maintain, but I think we should always strive to achieve.
Absolutely.
Higher for our kids.
You mentioned, pandemic year, it was so long ago. Sometimes I feel like it was like last week, but I feel even though it was so long ago, you still see effects from the pandemic year. I know for students, and I know this firsthand because my father, he was he's an educator, but with the city of Norfolk, and he was teaching remote, and they realized there was a lot of students that will learn differently. Now, I myself, I had a learning disability when I was young, and I found ways to, again, still graduate from high school, graduate from college. I was grateful, but I know for other students, it is still, a struggle when it comes to making sure, say, the graduation rate is good, but for also students with learning disabilities. Are there any programs that might, that helps schools in the public school system, or at least helps students with learning disabilities? So ADHD, autism, dyslexia, are there programs within the city public school system?
I'm sure. Yes, I'm sure. We have people that specialize. We have an amazing exceptional learning department that's run by Miss Tawanda Shirley, and I've heard excellent things coming out from her department, and the gains that we've made in our exceptional learners and our students with disabilities. So I think Chesapeake is doing well. That is a tricky area. I feel like, especially with the rules and the policies that come down from the Virginia Department of Education and law, special education laws, those change. And so we really have to rely on our experts internally to really navigate those IEPs and those plans for those students. Absolutely. I think too, Chesapeake's doing really well at dialing back technology, because like you were talking about COVID, that was sort of what everybody went to make to try to prevent learning loss. And so we went really heavy on the technology side. Now we're understanding that that's actually sort of creating a problem. And so we're having to dial that back. Chesapeake also implemented that cell phone policy, which I thought we were either the first or one of the first in the state of Virginia to do that. And we've seen some really healthy, positive changes in the right direction, with children being able to focus, being able to socialize and look their friends in the eye. So at lunchtime, they're actually talking with humans, you're looking at their phone. But we really did see such a detrimental impact of, too much technology.
For sure. And you the cell phone policy you're sharing was it prohibiting students from using their phone while in class? Is that what you're?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's off and away through the day. So
gotcha.
I believe it's policy 9-20.1. And many divisions modeled after ours, Chesapeake did. And that's another thing. Chesapeake does typically, in my opinion, we tend to lead the way in a positive way.
Absolutely. Now, parents often ask whether advanced learners are being challenged enough, while, again, I go back to struggling students receiving additional support. Now, how do you strike that balance?
So we have been introducing something called the Modern Classroom Project, and that allows children in the classroom to kind of go at their speed. So let's say you have a child who's getting the information really quickly, but in a typical classroom, they're going to have to stay back until everybody else catches up. With the Modern Classroom Project, it allows children to go at their pace. So that child who's advanced is able to go on to the next. The child who needs extra time to understand the concept has that time and that extra attention. So that's something that we've been exploring. Is it something that we're going to implement across division? I don't know. I think that we're still learning about it, but that's one way that we're addressing, because that is a challenge. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. When it comes to, it's funny because my brain goes on a radio. So I'm always, all these questions pop up and I'm like, wait, come back to me. When it comes to vocational, because we're seeing a lot of students now, and just the conversation, hey, maybe college is not for you. College is not for everybody, but there are opportunities that we can, hey, lead you on more of the vocational side. So then by the time you finish with a high school degree, you have your certification year. Because I feel as though the most important thing, at least, what I hear from parents, is that they want to make sure their kids are prepared for the world, prepared for it, whether if it's higher education or just prepared when they finish school. Are there vocational, I would say, programs, or at least, what's going on within the city that you don't mind sharing?
Yes, I'm actually really excited to talk about this. I feel very passionate about vocational learning, and just in general that our children have a diploma and a plan. And whether that plan involves college, which is great for some, it's a viable path for some, it is absolutely not the only path to success. We have what's called the Chesapeake Career Center here in Chesapeake, and it has grown exponentially over the years. 2 of my children have attended the Chesapeake Career Center. My oldest, she was in the building trades program, so she learned the fundamentals in plumbing, electricity, masonry, carpentry, and she took that knowledge and she applied it to a career in real estate, and she's doing really well. She doesn't have a college degree. It's a non-traditional path. She also has no college debt, but she has a viable, career path.
Say amen, church, for that. Say amen for that, church.
Yes, right. And then my son, he's a senior now at Indian River High School. Go Braves. And he's in the welding program at the Chesapeake Career Center. He's in his second year in the welding program, and not to brag, but he's also top of his class for the welding program. And so when he graduates high school, he is going to be a certified welder, and he's going to walk right into a high-paying job with 0 college debt. And I actually can foresee him, owning his own business, doing fabrication of some sort. So yes, we here in Chesapeake, we have really led the way, and we have taken away the stigma from vocational learning and vocational education, that skilled trades are a great option for our kids. And then we're providing them with a pathway to do that. So these kids, not only are they learning these skills, but they're also getting industry credentials. They're testing, they're taking tests. We have a dental assistant program. Those girls and those young men, they're taking their certification so that they can take the x-rays. So they're walking right into Konikoff dentistry, and getting a job. We have cybersecurity. We have auto repair, collision repair. There's so many options that we have HVAC. So lots of great opportunities here in Chesapeake, and I'm a huge supporter. I'm actually on the Career and Technical Education Advisory Board. We have Career Signing Day. Have you heard about that?
I have heard about Career Signing Day.
So Career Signing Day, it's like when athletes sign with colleges, we do that in Chesapeake with our kids that are signing with employers. So we have cosmetology students who sign contracts with hair cuttery, because they're graduating as licensed cosmetologists, and then they're going right into the cosmetology field. And it's a big celebration. And we have this big table set up, and the employers are there, and the employers are giving swag, and everybody's cheering. That's the way it should be. We should be celebrating these types of paths for our children. Now, some of the kids that go to VOTEC, they do end up going to college, but they wanted to earn a skill that could pay their way through college. The options are limitless. And
I'm very, I'm a couple things why, I'm happy that you, shared all that great stuff about the vocational route for students here in Chesapeake. One, again, having those skills are so important, because we do live in a very tech forward world where technology is starting to be like, one thing, I guess, a pet peeve of mine when I'm at like Sam's Club or something, or just any grocery store, there's nobody to check you out. Everything's computer. And I'm just like, I don't want to I feel like sometimes us, and I'm guilty too, we can get a little lazy with technology, right? And it's like, okay, the more we rely on technology, it's like, okay, what skill do we have? I'm like, my wife always says, hey, look, I got some or I might have a car issue, I gotta change a tire. Well, I got AAA, so I can call it. I'm just saying, it's great to still have that skill set, and again, preparing them for the future. And I also think another thing I want to mention, I think that's awesome that y'all have the career signing, because being a kid from private school, there was always a higher standard. Like vocational was never spoken about in private school, nor was like, okay, even though teachers or educators never said it, but us as students, we always talked. It was even if you went to say a community college, you're like, that's not an improvement. That's not the case. So I appreciate seeing that you are encouraging those students to say, hey, look, career signing day, you are right there graduating, heading into your employer. It's important because obviously, hey, we're all with student debt. we're all, struggling when it comes to certain things, but having that skill set, it's just, you're always going to need it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. And there's a labor shortage in the United States of America right now. And ask the shipyard, it's actually a crisis. So I love to see Chesapeake, answering this crisis. It's not just great for our students, it's great for our country. And actually we're building a new career center. We haven't broken ground yet, but it's a top of our capital improvement plan right now, because we are looking to expand. We have 600 students at the Chesapeake Career Center. We had 900 apply. Wow. So we had to turn away 300. The need's there and the interest is there and it's growing, thank God. So this is good for everybody all around.
Absolutely. Earlier, you had mentioned about school safety. Your campaign highlights expanding school safety measures, including additional school resource officers and security improvements. Now, what's the next phase of, again, keeping the school safe?
Yes. No, well, I would like to still continue. I would like to have a 1-to-1 ratio for school resource deputies in our elementary campuses. That's the goal. And every office, whether it's the sheriff's office or the police department, they have their own vacancies that they have to fill. So that's a little bit of a challenge, and we may have to get creative on how we come up with a solution to get to that 1-to-1 ratio. We also advance our Raptor technology. Raptor technology is like the computer system when you first come in, and it's screening out, people that have records, not having access to our children. I believe too that we've enhanced our AI abilities to even detect weapons via camera in our schools. So that's something that I'd like to see advance, but with obviously healthy boundaries.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, because sometimes a good thing can be good until it crosses lines.
Absolutely. Another big thing that occurs in school, I mean, especially with our teens, is mental health. Anxiety, depression, and social media continues to affect students. Now, I'm curious to ask, is Chesapeake, what are they doing enough to provide the counseling for those students that might be, having some, depression or mental health, so that it's, you already, you found out, you're helping them through there, and then it just, because it's sad when you always turn on the news and it's person, lost their life for cyber bullying, and they're like extremely young, and I'm like, what is going on? So just curious if has the city been working with some of the counselors on that challenge?
Yes, we actually expanded that availability to have those telehealth appointments. Now, we also have done that with the safeguard that parents have to consent. Like, these are not conversations that are, had without parental or guardianship involvement. But yes, we have expanded that availability to our students. Because you're right, it is. It's almost an epidemic. I hate to say that. But yeah.
Going to school growth, right? So your campaign discusses opening another elementary school and addressing aging facilities like Carver Intermediate, because we do have older schools within the area. Now, what obstacle remains to making those projects happen?
Well, let's talk about budget. So capital improvement budget is separate from our operating budget, and it's honestly a little depressing to talk about that. But what's interesting in Chesapeake is that our enrollment has remained relatively stable over the past decades. It hasn't really gone up tremendously. In fact, the last couple of years, we've seen a slight dip. Public education as a whole is seeing a little bit of a dip. So the issue becomes addressing, we have extra growth in certain areas.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that we're seeing growth all across Chesapeake, but we're seeing growth in specific areas. So we have some schools that are under capacity and some that are way over capacity, like Grassfield, Southeastern Elementary. So we've built a new elementary school called in the Culpeper Landing area. We've built an addition out at Southeastern Elementary. So that's going to alleviate some of that overcrowding. However, we still have new housing developments that are going to come in on that area. So the other way that we address this issue is, unfortunately, we're going to have to look at the zoning maps. Some of these zoning maps for our neighborhoods are about 30 years old. Well, the demographics in Chesapeake have changed over 30 years.
Yeah.
So rezoning is not a very popular topic, but it's something that we're going to have to do, and we're going to have to take a hard look at and make some, strategic decisions as a school board to address that. Because it's not just new infrastructure, because it's not that we're seeing growth, like I said, across the entire division. We're staying pretty steady. It's just those high pocket, high density areas. Yeah. And then we've got the aging infrastructure. Carver Intermediate is next on the list, just so you know. It's next on our priority list on the capital improvements. They desperately need renovation.
I'm curious, Kim, to ask, and I'm asking this as a resident, as a voter, just a curious question. When it comes to like funding for new schools, does that fall primarily on the school board or city council?
City council.
Oh, okay. So it's important to get I got you. What are some, if you don't mind sharing some of the challenges that, because I know we've hit on a few, but are there, more challenges that, still, occurs within Chesapeake Public Schools? Again, the reason why you're, running for re-election, obviously there's more work to be done, but what are some of those challenges that you would like to see within the next, if you're, elected again in the next 4 years?
I really do think that our primary and biggest challenge is going to be addressing the capital improvement needs, the infrastructure needs of our school division. That's honestly what gives me heartburn. It's seeing this tremendous need and these very little resources that we have, and knowing that we have to have buildings to educate children in, and they have to be safe buildings. And teachers have to have these safe buildings to want to work in Chesapeake Public Schools and have places to educate our children. So I do think that that's actually going to be like our biggest hurdle. As you know, the state legislature has given us the ability, they've given localities the ability to do a 1% sales tax, to do a referendum. We haven't not discussed that as a board, and we've missed the opportunity to do that this year. But I'm open to having that conversation next year, with the school board and the city council to say, should we present a referendum to the citizens of Chesapeake for a 1% sales tax that will be solely designated to capital improvements for our school division? And I was told that could give about $63 million annually. Wow. I mean, that could make a tremendous difference. Now, taxes, I'm one of those citizens too, that when we start talking about taxes, I'm like, wait a second.
Exactly. I don't want to hear it. It's so funny. My in-laws live in South Carolina. So when it comes to, like property tax stuff, I'm like, huh? What property tax? What is that? So my wife first moved, she's like, what is this? She's like, what? I'm like, oh yeah, your car, it's property tax. Like, what is that? So I'm like, welcome to the Commonwealth, honey.
Income tax and sales tax.
Everything is taxed. But I know I didn't mean to cut you off, but you were saying, in regards though, that money could help fund, fund that, which is important. Again, you don't want to see aging buildings crumbling, especially when there's students in there and teachers. Right. It's like, how do you continue to, share the, great stuff about Chesapeake Public Schools if you have, aging buildings? Right.
And portable classrooms, we've had to, because these are older buildings, and the requirements for like classrooms and resources, it has required us to utilize a large number of portable classrooms. Well, parents and teachers alike don't like portable classrooms. I don't like portable classrooms. I'm excited to say that with our new infrastructure and the 2 rezonings, because we have done 2 rezonings during my tenure, we're on track to eliminate 40 portables, which is fantastic. Wow. But that's actually a drop in the bucket compared to where we need to go. So I think if we just, keep doing this a bite at a time, we're going to continue making those positive changes in Chesapeake. Nothing's going to be done overnight. This just takes consistent, strong leadership.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Kim, now some parents have applauded your emphasis on parental rights, which again, you mentioned that earlier on in the conversation, while others worry, hey, politics becoming a little too involved in education. My question for you is, how do you respond to both perspectives?
Well, I think there should be a healthy balance. I know I talked to you earlier about, balancing parental rights with parental responsibility. We're a part of the solution and we should have a seat at the table, but we're sitting at the table with a lot of other people that are very important, like our educators, our bus drivers, our custodians, our school nutrition, our administrators, guidance counselors. I mean, everybody has a seat at that table and is important, and their voice and their input is important. Parents are just a part of that. We're a part of that.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I talked about earlier with having those boundaries. But, the vast majority of parents in Chesapeake support their children's teachers, and they want to, and they have healthy relationships, and they want to continue having those healthy relationships.
Absolutely. I do want to, mention just or talk briefly about City of Chesapeake just recently hired a new school superintendent.
Yeah.
It was Dr. Doug. Let me see if I have this last name right. Brubaker?
Yes.
Brubaker? Okay, cool. I realized I'm like, I did not practice saying this man's name on here, so let me not make a fool of myself while I'm doing this. Well, now look, the board conducted a national search with obviously Dr. Doug Brubaker being named the new school superintendent. Now, it was a narrow vote. It was a 5-4 vote. First question I want to ask, what qualities ultimately separated him from the other finalists?
Experience, 100%. There going into this process, to be truthful with you, it was difficult for me to even think about somebody coming outside of Chesapeake into Chesapeake and doing this job, because like I've said before, we're a really unique place. And so that was really difficult for me to even imagine. But once this process started and you get to see the resumes and you start the interviews, you see a tremendous difference between someone who is speaking from experience and someone who may have great intentions but doesn't have the experience. That was a big deal to me. And as someone who is stewarding, such a large budget, over $800 million budget, to serve over 40,000 students and 6,000 employees, I had a tremendous responsibility to make sure that I'm putting someone in that has experience to do this and to lead a school division of our size. And one of the things about Dr. Brubaker that really stood out to me is his leadership in school divisions of various sizes. He was an associate superintendent in a division in Texas of 57,000 students. That's larger than our division.
Wow.
And then he led 2 other divisions in 2 different states. So I knew that he had the ability to transition and that this wasn't going to be novel for him. Now, Virginia is obviously very different. I could look at this man and I thought he's got a lot of transferable experience and the ability to learn Virginia. So
was the goal to see a candidate, or at least a superintendent that can continue the vision of Dr. Jared Cotton, who was there for years as a school superintendent, or was the board looking for at least some change? So, want to see a new change. What can Dr. Brubaker bring to the table, or bring to Chesapeake Public Schools?
Well, I think we have a tremendous legacy. So I think that the board as a whole wanted to protect that legacy, but also was open to fresh perspective, because we can't be afraid of that. You can protect legacy and also look forward to the future as well. And I think that the majority of the board, also going through this process, realized, what, we need an objective lens. We need somebody who can objectively, assess central administration and assess the division as a whole, assess the budget, just an objective lens. There's nothing wrong with that. That's actually a healthy thing. But while also protecting legacy and keeping us moving in the right direction.
I mentioned it was a a narrow vote. It was 5-4, and it was very public, locally. And reading the pilot, I know one of your colleagues had mentioned that they preferably, why they voted not in favor of Dr. Brubaker, because they wanted to have somebody within the state, or at least familiar with Chesapeake. And you hit on that in the beginning, saying that, well, even though we have those, we have great candidates, within the state, within the city, but experience was said, you know what, this is the person that we're going to choose. As chair, Kim, was that, like, how was that process, without giving us all the behind the scenes stuff? Because again, it is public, and you do have, even though we're honest with our audience here, different perspectives, even politically, on school board. There is currently a 7-2 majority, Republican, two Democrats on your school board. But again, you had some bipartisanship with those that voted not in favor. Was that difficult, again, as a chair? I guess because folks are saying, you're in charge, you're in leadership, X, Y, and Z. I'm just curious.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm chair, but I'm 1/9 of the board. I have one vote, just like everybody else has one vote. Now, I will tell you that, the night of the vote, the 5-4, I didn't know it was going to be 5-4. I felt like it may have been 6-3, but I didn't know it was going to be 5-4. I was disappointed in the moment, because there is a way to vote no with grace, and there's a way to vote yes with caution. And I felt that we had 4 individuals, bipartisan, that missed that opportunity. And I don't think it's leadership to come out the day or 2 days later and then backtrack and say, well, this is why I did it. I think being able to be transparent in the moment, because you can be truthful and gracious at the same time. And I felt like that the community was owed that. I felt like that Dr. Brubaker was owed that in that moment. Now, what's done is done. And now I have to have grace, and I have to move forward, and we work together as a team. And I would say, as a whole, the 9 of us typically do well, disagreeing without being disagreeable. Because that happens. I mean, even if we're in the same, there's plenty of times we disagree on strategy, or, how to get something done. We may have the same, objective, but we have different ideas of how to get there from point A to point B.
It's funny, and you say that because I always share with folks, because they always say, Arrington, how are you, you're friends with everybody. And I always say, look, I have friends on all different sides of the aisle. That's why I always say I'm a true independent. I lean in the middle, but I'm friends with everybody. Even if I can kindly, one of my best friends, we do not agree politically, but I consider him family. So it's like, shoot, my wife and I, the love of my life, we don't agree all the time. So you have, again, having that same objective, just, again, different ways of getting there, but at the end of the day, we have to focus on, and I think that's just in general with all the political division we have in our country, is the fact that we all want to see the same outcome. We all want to see the same, end of the story, but we have a different way of getting there. So it's very important. I know it's difficult, being on a board of 9 members, everybody's going to have their, so it can be difficult. Now we're going to have some fun, Kim, if you're ready to have some fun, because this is our rapid fire. Want to ask you this, favorite song, if someone drives by you at a stoplight and they hear you car karaoke in your car, what is your go-to song that you're like, oh, I can just always, sing, this is my go-to?
I can't think of a song offhand, but I will tell you my favorite artist, or one of my favorite artists, CeCe Winans. She's definitely one of my favorite. I actually went to her concert last year with my sister. It was a gift from my husband for Christmas, and so he sent both of us to go see her concert. And I'm telling you, she's
iconic. Her voice is timeless. And funny story. She visited. So when I was in elementary school, I attended this school, Calvary Christian School, out in Norfolk, and she was having a concert at the time it's called the TED Concert Center. It's called the Chartway Arena now. But she had a concert out there. But before she did that, earlier in the day, she went to go visit our school, because I think she knew the pastors of that was affiliated with the school. And fast forward, my parents was a part of like her, I don't know, like detail, like backstage at the concert. So I had the opportunity to escort her to her car. Like, it was this little kid walking with her and her husband. And I have the picture till this day. And I was little, and it was just, you couldn't tell me anything, because the next she's like, hey, have fun, Arrington. I'm like, yo, I just want to let you know, me and CeCe, we go back. All right. I mean, she's her timeless. So I agree with you on that. She is a one of a kind artist, and really the whole family's talented, but she is definitely, she's awesome.
Well, she's so authentic too. She is who she is.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Are you a movie theater goer or a binge watcher? Do you prefer to be home binge watching, a favorite TV show, or would you rather go to the movies and, eat popcorn, all that good stuff?
I honestly like both. I kind of am sad to see like movie theaters shutting down and to kind of see that us moving away from that and going more towards Netflix. But I enjoy both. Like I definitely binge watch. I love true crime. I do love Netflix documentaries, Dateline, all of those types of things. But I do also enjoy going to the movies. One of the most recent ones we watched, I think, was Young Washington, and there was something else I felt like we went out and watched recently, and I can't remember it. And I also love the concession stands. I mean, the smell of popcorn, getting that Diet Coke and sitting through, a good movie. So I like both.
Okay.
I'm really binge watching stuff. And Love is Blind. That is a guilty pleasure.
Oh my gosh. All right, Kim. We were doing so good. I'm gonna have to cut this interview off now.
And judging everybody.
Let me tell you, my wife dragged me. I didn't know where I was going in. One of her good friends from work, they had some, what is it called? It was a watch party at Waterside in downtown Norfolk. And I'm like, where are you taking me to? She's like, oh, we're just going to Waterside, hang with her, have some drinks out here. I'm like, okay, cool. I sit down, Kim. The whole thing is decked out in, like, I guess Love is Blind. Is it Love is Blind? No, I'm sorry. Love Island. I'm sorry. I'm getting them all mixed up. I'm getting them all mixed up. But she loves the Love is Blind as well. Now, when it comes to vacation, beach vacation or mountain getaway, which one is if you had to choose between them?
Wonderful. But so we're getting ready to go to Outer Banks this week. So we are Outer Banks people. We love a good beach vacation. We also love going to a cabin. I think both have like value and like a lot of fun for our family. And our family is very outdoorsy. We love to hike. My husband's a veteran and he's just an outdoorsy type guy. He's a manly man. So he loves to take the kids to do. Now he likes to do like real camping, like where you go and you hike out in the middle of nowhere and you survive. I don't do that. I let him do that with our children because I know it's important to have these experiences, but I don't. I like bathrooms, running water.
That is hilarious. You're that person all of a sudden like, you know what? I'm feeling a little bit under the weather. You guys, you go ahead without me. You go ahead. Yeah. Love is Blind. All right.
Well, they don't even stay in a tent. They'll like sleep out under the stars. No, I'm not.
Yeah, that's good for them because I'm a city kid at heart. So you're not. I think my dad took me maybe once camping with some friends, and I wouldn't even consider really camping because again, you had the shower and the tent and all that stuff down there. We were close to civilization, but I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I don't do bugs, and it's just like I feel as though all the mosquitoes always follow me for some reason. Favorite food, if your go-to favorite food, you can just
I could eat kava every day. You ever go to kava and you get like the greens and grains bowl? Yes. I could eat kava every day, all day. And also another go-to would be the Wawa hoagies. I love a good hoagie.
I'm with you on that one. I know exactly probably which one you go to nearby the neighborhood. I do that. Now I will say when it comes to the Chesapeake, I'm a poke bowl person. Now that I can eat every day, but I do love kava. Kava is great. So that great choice. Kim, I appreciate you, but towards the at the end, last question I want to ask you: why should voters choose you to serve another term on Chesapeake School Board come November 3rd?
We've done a lot of good things the last 4 years, and I want to keep a good thing going. We have more to do. I mean, we decreased the bus driver shortage by more than 67%. We've expanded career and technical education. We've stayed focused on academic success. The proof is in the pudding. And I've made sure that everybody has a voice and a seat at the table. I've maintained healthy boundaries, and so Chesapeake, put me in for another 4 years, and we'll continue to do more good work for our school division.
And Kim, for those who are watching, I've provided your website, but if you don't mind sharing with our listeners, how can folks continue to read up on your platform, or if they want to support your campaign, how can they get in touch with you?
Yes, so I'm on social media. You can find me at Kim Scott Chesapeake School Board on Facebook. It's Vote Kim Scott on Instagram. My website is super easy. It's www.votekimscott.com. I'm easy to access, and I'm very responsive. So reach out. I would love to have your support, and also just know how I can better serve you as your member of the school board.
Absolutely. Well, neighbor, I truly appreciate that you took some time out your busy schedule to come here on the show. If you don't mind, I would love to chop it with you just for a couple of seconds after this show. But again, we thank you so much for taking the time out your busy schedule to come here and share your platform. And best of luck to you on your campaign.
Thanks, Arrington.
Ladies and gents, I hope you enjoyed yet another great convo here on the Arrington Gavin Show. As always, stay safe, stay blessed, and look, stay informed. Again, it's election season, local. We got midterms going on too on congressional races, so it's a lot. So stay informed. I will talk to you soon for another great convo here on the Arrington Gavin Show. I'm out.
That's it for tonight on the Arrington Gavin Show. Thanks for tapping in and keeping the conversation alive. Don't forget, stay connected with us on all platforms. Follow at Arrington Gavin on Instagram, Blue Sky, and X, and subscribe to the official Substack for exclusive takes and deep dives you won't get anywhere else. We're here every weeknight, same time, same energy, same real talk. Until next time, stay bold, stay sharp, and stay true. That's what we do on the Arrington Gavin Show. Peace.